What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Enjoyed my wrestling vacation this year. Had to take one every so often. Kind of get away from the world of pro wrestling. The world outside of wrestling has been very interesting the last month, but that did not stop me from checking out this latest new big event from New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of the last ones of 2025, King of Pro Wrestling, coming from familiar territory in Sumo Hall. We start off with a brand new IWGP Women's Championship. Shiri wins the title for the second time, the first ever two-time women's champion. I don't know how important that is actually in the Joshi community. Again, it's been a couple years since they introduced that women's championship, and it really hasn't been pushed on the card as much because it's hard to do that if you don't have regular women's matches. So the New Japan fans who might not watch Stardom, and there is a difference in Japan with some of these fan bases, they might not know the women's stars. Obviously, people over outside of the country who don't have Stardom or don't watch Stardom aren't familiar with those stars, which most of New Japan's women's division comes from. So it needs work. It needs work. But whether or not they'll do it or not, or this title will be gone in a couple of years, time will tell. It's a six-man tag team match between two factions that, along this King of Pro Wrestling tour, have actually gained a bit of admiration for each other, mutual respect from beating the crap out of each other. The War Dogs here. It's Taiji Ishimori, Clark Connors, and David Finlay in this iteration. Yeah, Finlay on the opening, well, technically the opening male match of the night. Taking on the unaffiliated, formerly known as Los Ingobernables de Japón guys, Shingo Takagi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Teton. Teton, the biggest standout in this match. A very fun six-man tag team match. It was a win that Finlay needed, so I understand why they put him in this match, coming off of a pretty big loss during the Destruction Tour, and now in this, of course, back in the G1, not having a great G1. So he kind of needed to look strong here. He did in this six-man tag match. Again, very entertaining. And whatever they're doing here with the War Dogs and the unaffiliated kind of being brothers in pain, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where that's going. Especially considering the fact that later on in the night, Gabe Kidd, who is of the War Dogs, will be defending the Global Championship against Yota Tsuji, who is part of unaffiliated. So I have a feeling something might happen later on tonight, but we'll have to wait and see if that, in fact, becomes a thing. Next up, we had a match that was supposed to be just a regular challenge match, and it turned into some sort of, basically, a no disqualification match, basically an AEW match. Driller Maloney taking on Sonata, who, for some reason, there was a fake Sonata at the beginning of his entrance, and then the real Sonata came through the crowd, had some pretty cool costumes on. That is Sonata these days. Drilla, he was ready. He came out with a fork, introduced a fork into this match, and I was like, here we go. It is Jon Moxley hour here as Sonata and Drilla fight over the fork. Drilla gets the upper hand for most of the beginning of this match. He pretty much skewers Sonata in the forehead multiple times. The biggest mistake, though, came when he tried to use those damn Japanese tables that are hard as concrete, apparently. He set two of them up outside the ring after nearly killing a whole section of the crowd by turning the chairs up and almost hitting people in the head with them. Then he went to go do his backdrop spot with Sonata. Sonata backdropped him. Drilla goes up real high because he wants that crash to the table. It does not happen. Both tables withstand Drilla falling on them. He bounces off the tables and ironically enough, winds up going headfirst into the chairs that he endangered the fans with. This match all comes from this whole entire history when Sonata, back earlier in the year, turned on the War Dogs, that really weird time when he wasn't a War Dogs, which seems like a lifetime ago. One of the things that happened that night is he nailed Drilla Maloney over the head with the guitar, a la Jeff Jarrett, a la the Honky Tonk Man. But here, in this tour, he's basically obliterated Drilla again and again and again with this damn guitar. He tricked Drilla once again. Drilla, probably not the brightest guy in the world. He got hit in the head again with this guitar, bleeding all over the place. Pretty nasty blade job. He was dripping a lot. They didn't even put close-ups on it. So he manages to get through it, though. Drilla's a fighter, much more so than Sonata, which is why this match really kind of played into Drilla's hands. Drilla hits the Drilla Killer, but there's no referee because, you know, House of Torture shenanigans come in. We get House of Torture Light coming in here. I think it's like Dick Togo and Kanemaru. Clark Connors comes in to help make the save, to help his boy out. They wind up getting everything set up so Drilla can get his revenge with the guitar. The crowd starts getting into this big time now. They're barking, they're doing the War Dogs chants and everything else. Drilla hits a nasty, nasty looking Drilla Killer once again on Sonata to get the win in a very entertaining match. A match that was far more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. If you like the AEW style of wrestling, this is an AEW style match in New Japan, but certainly a good match and an entertaining match to watch. To see Drilla Maloney climbing up the ranks in the heavyweight division. Sonata, I'm not sure what Sonata's doing, but I will say this again. I have enjoyed Sonata's work over the last 12 months more than I did when he was world champion. So take that for what that's worth. We then moved on with the return of Hirooki Goto. And this is an interesting thing that came up to me when I was watching the entrance and hearing the crowd chant Goto, and they got the extra long introduction. Goto has now risen and kind of, I've kind of been blind to it a little bit, how much he's risen up to be kind of now a legendary set. He is a established star in New Japan, and if his career continues as we clearly see, he's in decent shape. His career is going to go on for a while. He's going to reach some pretty high stat. I don't think we've seen the ceiling for Hirooki Goto. Not so sure for his tag team partners, Yoshihashi. I think we saw the ceiling of Yoshihashi when he dove headfirst into the side of the apron. Sorry, Yoshihashi, but, you know. And, Yo has always been kind of on and off. He's a quirky character. He has some cool spots in this match. They were taking on the TMDK team. The real thing in here was Kosei Fujita of TMDK. And again, the rematch or them meeting again since their match at the Best of the Super Juniors final this year, which was amazing. Go back and check out my review of that if you haven't seen it. Goto gets the win as we expected. He gets the pin. It's the same thing with David Finlay. He kind of needed this win. He needed to get the pin in this match. One of the bigger shows of the year for New Japan Pro Wrestling. But again, it's cool to see Goto back, and it is cool now to see. I haven't watched this guy for so many years now, going on about 10 years now. Oh, wait, 12 years now since I got back into man, time flies. 12 years since I've gotten back into New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kind of fun to see where Goto was then when I first got back into Japanese wrestling and where he is now and how he's kind of, persistence, man. That guy has persisted for so long that he's earned everybody's respect. So great to see Goto back. Is he going to go on to face the winner of the main event match? Is he going right back into the World Championship contention? Not so sure about that, but, that's why we watch the shows. Next up, we had an announcement that the New Beginning Tour, well, there will be a New Beginning Tour, I should say, in the United States, which is rare. It'll be up, and I believe it's in Trenton, New Jersey, so East Coast, Northeast, you're going to get a little bit of New Japan action come 2026 early on. We then moved on to another surprise match of the night that I didn't think I was going to enjoy as much as I did. But the 20th anniversary of El Phantasmo, along with the continuing final countdown tour of Hiroshi Tanahashi, as more of these guys from this latest generation. It's so wild. They're all hanging it up. Danielson, John Cena, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. It's crazy. But Tanahashi challenging for ELP's World Television Championship, 15-minute time limit. This match would go the time limit, but I absolutely recommend this. This is probably one of the better matches, surprisingly enough, Tanahashi's had in his retirement tour, and it definitely is one of the best matches El Phantasmo's had during his tour. A lot of people always have commented that El Phantasmo is a very talented in-ring wrestler. He had personality at one point in time, but his personality has shifted so many times over the years that you can't really get a hold on where he is. Of course, his whole story is tied to a lot of other people. Tanahashi, of course, proving that he can still go. They said he's wrestled more matches this year than he's wrestled since he was a young lion in 1 year. So that's pretty cool. But it did come down to a time limit draw, satisfying exhibition kind of match. Great to see ELP really getting... Tanahashi will bring that out in you. And ELP really wanted this match. I mean, this is in Ryogoku. Sumo Hall is the site of so many amazing matches with Hiroshi Tanahashi. In fact, a lot of his legacy when he brought New Japan out of the last Dark Ages they had was highlights of him. You can see it on anywhere that have highlights of Tanahashi's career. A lot of those highlights happened in Sumo Hall. So another great match. The final match for Hiroshi Tanahashi in Sumo Hall. He did wave to the crowd a little bit at the end, but you can tell he was kind of beat up and kind of tired, and he got out of there. We then moved on to the Never Openweight Championship. Boltin Oleg defending against Evil. Yeah, it's a House of Torture match. Yes, it's exactly what you expected this match to be. I'm not wild into the House of Torture stuff. Some people are. Not my cup of tea. The less said about it, the better. Evil does win this match. He does, of course, with the usual House of Shenanigans. But this I'm not upset about so much because Evil winning the Never Openweight Championship, I'm okay with. Him winning the world title, him winning a G1, not so much. But the Never title, I can be okay with that. Boltin Oleg had that title. He had a decent run with the championship. It is time to see where Boltin can go from here in New Japan. After that match, however, something very big happened. Aaron Wolf, who we talked about him earlier in the year, this is one of the big signings for New Japan, one of the biggest high-profile signings for New Japan. Aaron Wolf, who is a young lion, the guy's got credentials. He gets into the ring and gets in the face of Evil because the House of Torture starts beating down Boltin after the match because it's the House of Torture. He hip tosses, judo throws a couple of the members of House of Torture. Looked pretty rough. Evil gets in his face. He's like, who do you think you are? Aaron Wolf ain't backing down, man. Even Foley's standing there. It's 5 or 6 against 1, and Aaron Wolf ain't backing down. So I think we have one of our early matches for Wrestle Kingdom coming up. A pretty good one. I'm actually interested in seeing this. Aaron Wolf probably is going to wind up challenging Evil for the Never Openweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. So Wrestle Kingdom things are kind of shaping up a little bit for Wrestle Kingdom, making it really interesting. And they're already saying that they're selling more tickets than they have for any Wrestle Kingdom ever. So expecting a pretty big crowd on January 4th, which would be apparently also the debut out of the Young Lions rank for Aaron Wolf in the New Japan ring at Wrestle Kingdom coming up. Now this coming up next is what I wanted to see. This is what I've been wanting to see for a very long time. The IWGP World Tag Team Championships on the line. The Knockout Brothers, Asuka and Yuta ICE against Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura. The backstory to this is we've all been thrown into this. This goes back to the Young Lion days where there was an accidental injury with Uemura and Yuta. It wasn't Yuta ICE at the time, but as a Young Lion, that was 4 years ago. It's carried on into this rivalry on the Road to Show. They've had the singles matches. Uemura and Shota Umino have the advantage there in the singles matches, but would they have the advantage when it came to the big match for the tag team championships for the gold, when the gold was on the line? I'm going to say this right now. This was very early contender for match of the night. Highly recommending this match. This is what you want to see out of the young wrestlers in New Japan. This is what's been missing. This whole thing with Yuta ICE and Uemura, this is a blood rivalry between these two guys. Have a lot of heat with each other, like legitimate heat you can feel coming off of the screen. And that is something that's been missing with Tsuji, even with Gabe. And as much as Gabe talks and everything else, you don't feel that there's this energy like you're getting between Yuta ICE and Yuya Uemura, and they are going after each other in this match. And Oscar and Shota were not left out in this too. Oscar has some amazing... That kid is very talented for his size, and he doesn't look weird. He's not Kevin Nash kind of style because he's 6'7". He's got that big, tall, lanky look to him. But, you know, he was doing some... He was moving pretty well in this match. He dropped a leg on Shota Umino at one point in this match and slapped the crap out of him. That looked awesome. Shota, to his credit, even though, you know, a lot of fans still have issues with him, Shota had this one knockout blow on Yuta ICE that looked nasty as hell. Because Yuta, I should say, he's got this kind of weird, like, he's got a little old school bruiser New Japan wrestler in him. And he's going and forearm for forearm with Shota. Then he kind of spits at Shota. And Shota's like, oh, I can tap into my crazy too. And Shota just knocked them out. It was fantastic. There were so many great moments. They, of course, worked the story about the Kimura from Uemura trying to get it on. Now, he didn't make, in the Road to show, he did make ICE tap out. He's almost made him tap out his tag match. They sold this and played this off very well in the match. Yuya did not submit. It didn't look like he was going to. And the Knockout Brothers managed to pull it out. Outstanding tag team match. One of the best tag team matches I've seen in New Japan in a long time. Knockout Brothers are already just out the jump. They are presences. They are stars in New Japan. People are gonna be talking about them pretty soon. If you're not in tune with that, you haven't been watching New Japan a lot lately, definitely check out this match. The Knockout Brothers versus Shota, Umino, and Yuya Uemura for the World Tag Team Championships. Uemura, he took the pin. He took the pin. ICE got his revenge, and ICE let him know about it and let everybody know about it. ICE got a mouth on him too, man. That kid, he's gonna be a star. I noticed a little thing. When he left the ring, he kind of looked at Tanahashi, and the camera zoomed in on Tanahashi. I don't think Tanahashi's a big fan of this. He's not a fan of that kind of ICE and the way ICE is, the way ICE carries himself, I should say, as a wrestler. So, a lot of stuff. This guy, keep an eye on him, man. Keep an eye on him and the Knockout Brothers. This trend will continue with the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship on the line. Gabe Kidd defending against Yota Tsuji. These two guys currently right now, not sure how much longer this is going to be the case, but these are two of the big three or big four in current generation New Japan. And, this controversy has been around. We've already covered that on the channel before. The match in particular, though, they had a really excellent match of the year candidate earlier this year. This is the blow-off match between the two of these guys, and it delivered. It was hard-hitting. It was nasty. It was brutal. Gabe did take a kind of a nasty bump when he went for a drop kick in the corner, completely folded up on his neck. And at one point in time, there's a standing 10 count, and Gabe's like, "Shut up, referee. We're not doing that." They go to the finish. Gabe looked like he won a few times. Tsuji looked like he was going to win. And then Tsuji, of all things, beats Gabe Kidd with a Boston Crab. A young boy move. A humiliation in many respects to beat a wrestler in Japanese wrestling with a Boston Crab. Gabe Kidd, after all this bravado, he tapped out. And your new global heavyweight champion is Yota Tsuji. Now, let the speculation begin because it's that season. Well, I'm sure it'll be brought up. I'm not going to get into it in this video. We'll have to see where things start lining up if we see anything going on. But what came after this match kind of added a little bit more fuel to that fire as David Finlay and the War Dogs all come down to the ring. And they're surrounding Gabe, and I'm thinking, oh, is this the turn on Gabe? They're kicking him out of Bullet Club, and then the unaffiliated guys come in the ring, and then it's like, wait, it's unaffiliated against the War Dogs, and then it's Gabe Kidd extending a hand to Yota Tsuji. Tsuji accepting it, and then all of the War Dogs, Bullet Club, and all of the unaffiliated shake hands. So I guess they're unified? Are the unaffiliated guys now affiliated as a subdivision of the War Dogs? Or a Bullet Club, I should say? And is Gabe staying around? Because he kind of left out, and there's a lot of patting on the back and stuff. Yeah, again, I can't remember anything like this before. This is rather unique to have a heel faction courting a face faction that's not really a faction to be part of their faction or to be a co-fact. I don't know. I'm intrigued. That's all I can say, to see the old former LIJ guys and the Bullet Club War Dog guys now getting together, especially now with the additions of guys like ICE and Oscar to the mix and everything else. Again, another fantastic match. I definitely recommend it. Highly recommend it, this match between Gabe and Yota Tsuji. The shocking ending to it, though. And again, like I said, speculation. There's going to be a lot of speculation going on. For the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. defending against the G1 Climax winner, Konosuke Takeshita. And we ended this night on a very high note. Another highly recommended match. This match is pretty damn good. Just as good as their G1 match. Again, some amazing spots in this one. The knockouts in this one were fantastic. And the psychology in this match was fantastic. Zack's style and Takeshita's style meshed together as opposites very well. Zack had Takeshita at a couple of points in this match when I thought Takeshita's gonna submit. I did have Takeshita as the favorite going into this match. Again, he's the G1 winner, and he's got a lot of fanfare around him, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Zack probably wrestled one of the best matches of the year that I've seen him wrestle this year, and it held his own and showed why he is that good. He can do a lot of different styles. He actually did a sunset flip powerbomb, something you don't see quite often out of Zack Sabre Jr. But it was Takeshita's heart, even though Zack was torturing his right arm and his right elbow. It looked like Takeshita was in a lot of pain, and Zack was twisting on that thing. But Takeshita's heart, his fighting spirit proved to be too much, and he hit that big knee. 1, 2, 3. And your new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion is Konosuke Takeshita. The crowd, very mixed here. There, I think, is about 50-50. Some people will, depending on what you think of Takeshita, will rank it one way or the other in favor or against. There were a definite smattering of boos after the match was over with. The crowd was not like cheering ecstatically for his win. He did get some cheers later on in his post-match speech. Hirooki Goto is the one that shows up. Takeshita's kind of like, well, why are the young guys letting this old veteran speak up for them? But hey, you're the one that showed up, Goto. Let's go. So it's going to be Hirooki Goto and Konosuke Takeshita. Maybe in the next month or so. We got, again, a couple months till Wrestle Kingdom. This doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be the Wrestle Kingdom match, but it could be, and I wouldn't be mad about it. The New Japan's in an interesting spot here because the New Japan loyalists, there is some toxicity, and there's a little bit of, we always complain about it here in the West about how toxic our fan base can be sometimes. It does exist in other wrestling cultures, and in Japan, they're probably in some respects more tribalistic than we are here. Like, they have their favorite promotions, and that's their favorite promotions, and that's it. It's not as verbally vicious between the fans from what I see, but there's still that tribalism that exists. And since Takeshita, even though he is a contracted New Japan wrestler, he's also a contracted DDT wrestler. He's also a contracted AEW wrestler. And I'm starting to feel that the Japanese fans, and this goes to, the obvious rumors that are going to start running around about certain other people on the roster right now. I think the New Japan fans are feeling what some of us over here in the West who are New Japan fans have seen is that the AEW New Japan partnership is a little lopsided. So anybody from AEW winning something in New Japan, when was the last time a New Japan star won anything big in AEW? Justified win, I have no problem with it, but it's going to be curious to see how they're going to play this out. Because I guarantee you this is not just limited to Ryogoku. I'm sure many places Takeshita's going to go, he's going to have fans on one side and detractors on the other side. Going to be curious too if some of the DDT people now start showing up, and kind of, maybe that's the idea that they have, that the DDT people will come in to the New Japan shows. Maybe that's the case. Maybe some of that's already happening. I'll be interested to see what happens with that. But overall, at the end of the day, this was a damn good, satisfying wrestling show to come back to after my vacation from pro wrestling. Got a solid show. The last 3 matches, absolutely phenomenal. Best matches of the night. The Tag Team Championship match with the Knockout Brothers against Shota, Umino, and Yuya Uemura. The Global Heavyweight Championship match with Gabe Kidd and Yota Tsuji. And the World Heavyweight Championship with Zack Sabre Jr. and Konosuke Takeshita. 3 great matches to end this show on a show that was full of some pretty good stuff. You got a little gore, you got a little comedy, you got some traditional tag team action, you got some traditional New Japan fighting spirit. Not a lot of strong style on this night, but I guess you could look at elements of Gabe and Tsuji and say that. But just again, if you're looking for a solid night of wrestling, if you're looking for to see that New Japan is still creeping back to, I gotta honestly say, a lot of these guys, especially in that tag match and in the Global Championship match, it felt like yeah, these guys are established now. And there's a huge ceiling now. I want to see more of these guys. And hopefully we will see more of these guys, all of these guys, in the future in New Japan over the next couple of years, as the wait may be over soon. That they may have finally gotten to a point where, you know, we've been talking about it for a while. Maybe they're at this point. This show felt like these guys had established themselves in a lot of different ways. Still, some people on the roster, not so much. The juniors division, there's a lot of questions about that, but I want to know what you guys thought. Did you watch King of Pro Wrestling 2025? What do you think about Konosuke Takeshita being the new IWGP World Champion? How that's going to play out with the Japanese audience? Of course, there's the whole story about AEW with him and Kazuchika Okada. Is that going to play into this at all? What do you think about the Knockout Brothers really setting the actually establishing a tag team division and becoming almost instant stars overnight in New Japan, and the battle between Gabe and Yota Tsuji? Obviously, there's going to be some rumors coming out of what happened with that match and what's going on with LIJ, or what used to be LIJ, the unaffiliated guys, and the Bullet Club War Dogs. Evil's the never Openweight champion. He's going to have a big challenger. It is official for Wrestle Kingdom. So lots going on in New Japan, and of course, we're still wrapping up Tanahashi's retirement tour. Pretty exciting time right now for New Japan. I might actually watch most of World Tag League this year. But again, let me know what you guys thought about the show in the comment box below. Until next time, I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and reviews on the Rantin' Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.